beat goes on. Do you remember that song?
Yeah.
We're old enough to remember.
I do.
Long in the tooth we are, my friend. Saber-tooth, long tooth. The Jim and Terry Show coming to you from the Hobbit Hole Studio in Bobcaygeon. I'm one of your hosts, Terry, and with me, as always...
I am Jim.
I am Jim.
That's that music you're making me do.
I am Jim. Make some talk
I'm
funny.
Jim. I'm Jim. Just Jim.
I wanted to talk about Ukraine. I wanted to talk about, we did talk about Trump's switch about face on Putin, but I wanted to talk about those 300 and some odd ballistic,
375, I think.
hypersonic, and drones. It was a combination of all those things, and it went on Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. So it was 3 days, so over 1,000.
Ramming into those bloody dangerous houses and nursing homes and, you know.
Well, they would say, but there were military present in those
Were there?
daycares and schools and nurseries and old folks'
Baby
homes.
parlors.
Yeah, so I wanted to capitalize on that and talk about whether the war will end in 2025. This is 3 years in, and I can't believe it's still going on. And part of me is, you know, that cognitive dissonance where it looks like the world is normal, but it's not. It's effed up in so many places, and Ukraine is just one of them. But let's start there.
Well, there is a few hot spots, you're right, and one of them being Iran and Israel. But the Ukrainian one, I blame Trump. And this show isn't about Trump, but I blame him because he put the brakes on really supporting Ukraine. If he had been united with NATO, and instead of threatening your own NATO partners and taking over NATO countries and everything else, as foolish as that was, Putin just laughed and said, "Oh man, we can carry on just destroying this country because the United States is out."
So your theory of the recent weekend barrage of Ukraine, the Blitz, you might as well call it a Blitz, just like Nazi Germany, the Blitzkrieg, that was what this past weekend was on Ukraine from Russia. And you're blaming that on Putin saying, "Watch, Trump, watch what I can do."
Yeah, Trump. What now? What's the big threat with? Oh, he's crazy. That Trump said, "Oh, he's crazy." That's really going to stop a crazy man.
Well, then you should really stop the crazy guy, shouldn't you?
Yeah.
You would think.
Well, never mind the gold dome. Let's put a brass dome up in Ukraine. Protect them like Israel's protected fully. And then maybe give them a few missiles. I think there's a few targets in Russia that need to be hit. Now, Putin is still threatening nuclear war. He's still threatening that. And he may do it because he's crazy. He may have, I don't know, syphilis or something. I don't know what's wrong with the guy. But he's crazily evil, killing hundreds of thousands of his own people in a war just because.
I told you that the estimates for Russian casualties, and again, this is, you have to take it with a grain of salt because in war, the first casualty of war is always truth. So how do we know the numbers? We go through independent sources. We go through state media sources as well, and we compare notes with people who are gathering the data, including United Nations sources, including national sources, Ukraine versus Russia, or third-party observers from the UK, from France, from Britain, from Germany, most of them in European. But the numbers that are seeming to come out is projecting over 1 million Russian casualties. And again, this is not like Russia's bombing houses and nursing homes and what have you in Ukraine, killing civilians. This is military. These are the people in uniform being killed, over 1 million. And the data is just stunning to me that these are military age kids being coerced, bribed. How do they get them? Forced into military service.
And then they're not going to be good soldiers.
No.
You're not going to get in a good army that way.
No, you're fresh off the
recruitment. They just want to run,
back.
And I don't blame them.
No, so there's another statistic on how many are deserters.
Yeah.
You get to the front, but when the drone comes to drop a grenade on you, do you hold up the white flag or do you come out surrendering? And I don't blame them at all.
No, I don't either. They right from the day one they were complaining about it being ill-equipped. Generals, how many generals did they lose just by humiliation? And if the United States had stuck with, it might have been over by now. The negotiations might have been done by now. But since he's flip-flopping like he flip-flops on absolutely
Well,
everything.
Trump still blames Biden for Ukraine.
Well,
Biden's
that's
war,
just-
not mine.
Yeah. It's Biden's war, not mine. Well, he blames himself for nothing.
Yes.
He'll blame.
Well, they already said he's not to blame for anything, and and the rating he gives himself is an A+ rating all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's totally detached from reality. My question is about Putin, and is he detached? And is that weekend drone, so nearly 1,000 or over 1,000 in the weekend, is that a new escalation? Is this the surge towards the end? Is this a last great push?
Well-
and will NATO eventually put boots on the ground to end this, or declare a no-fly zone over Ukraine? Nothing goes into Ukrainian airspace. No drones. They will all be shot down. What do we need to shoot them all down? Everybody contribute what they can. Put up the defensive shield on Ukraine. Why should Ukraine be taking all the civilian casualties of this
break
war?
their military back. Just break it.
So still go after military targets
Well,
and take the high road?
but-
the low road is, you bombed an apartment, we'll take out one in
If
Moscow.
you use the sophistication that the United States brags about having,
Mm.
you can take out any tank, any plane, any whatever. They can take them all out. So just like you said, now there's no fly zone for anything. And you might even say, and we're going to destroy the source
Yes.
of anything coming into this space.
Yes.
Sort of a touche approach.
Yes.
If it comes from an airport in Moscow, that airport's going to be affected.
Right.
The only threat is, again, wacko head over there, and I don't mean Trump, I mean Putin,
Yeah.
might use, what do they call, military, or what do they call it, in the field grade nuclear bombs, which is just horrible.
Limited.
Limited, I forget what they call it, but it's like battlefield nuclear bombs, which are nuclear bombs.
Yes.
They just
They're low
don't
yield.
destroy 100 miles.
Yes.
They only destroy 25 miles.
Right.
You know, that kind of thing.
Wow. I wondered about I said NATO boots on the ground. Macron had earlier on last year, I think, said French boots would go on the ground to maintain peace. Is that the phrase he used? Maintain peace. So there had to be a ceasefire first. Will it change? I know Putin says he's not going to get a ceasefire until he gets, well, the 4 provinces for sure. There's no, so that means Crimea, the 4, Donetsk and Luhansk, and I forget what the other ones are.
Stupid negotiation. There's no
There-
way
there is
Putin
no
wants just those provinces.
No.
He wants the nation. And he don't care if he kills every single soul in that country. He wants the nation. And like Trump, his ego's big enough now that even if he destroys the land that he really is seeking, he's going to win this because he's part of the old Soviet Union.
Well, does a prisoner exchange give you reason to hope?
I don't know.
It's
I
a
really
step.
don't know.
It's better than nothing.
I don't know. I don't even know why they bother.
Well, it was supposed to be part of a ceasefire initiative. If we exchange prisoners, then that's a sign of goodwill. Like, we didn't kill them, we didn't torture them, or did they? We don't know. Did we starve them to death? We don't know. So,
Or did
but
we
if- indoctrinate them? Yeah, and then there's still the notion. I still don't understand, but I'm going to draw this back to Canada and Carney in the King's Speech from the throne. That one of the initiatives Carney wants for Canada by July 1st. So Canada's, well, I guess it should be Canada's Independence Day.
Yeah.
He wants to have something in place where we are part of this initiative called Rearm Europe. Have you heard that phrase?
Yes, and I'd have to agree with that. You're going to have to play the game as if there's no United States. Sadly,
Yeah, I think you're right.
well, because number one, if Trump remains in power past this term, he may end up being partners with Putin in a whole other world thing.
Yeah,
So you
divide
can't
the
trust
world.
him as an ally. Trump came out of his own mouth, so
Yeah.
nobody blame me. Trump said
No,
it himself.
you're right.
Because our allies may not be our allies.
Yes, that's almost
So we're going to
verbatim.
give them inferior products, his allies.
Hmm.
I'm sure Putin was just laughing to death on that one, just laughing. So Trump thinking he's so macho and mob boss, he's a mob boss that slept with one too many women, it feels like to me, and that disease has creeped into his brain.
Syphilis.
Yeah. That's what it appears to me, because his ability to rage up in anger, and the analysts that say he's up at 1 a.m, up at 3 a.m, and
so are you and I,
but we're not running a whole nation,
and we're not texting at that time,
and thinking of people we can destroy. This same wacko has the codes to the nuclear bombs. So, the world's never been in more
Should
danger.
we be afraid?
No, don't be afraid, but it's never been in more danger.
So the Armageddon clock that goes to midnight was something.
Well, they already moved it, didn't they?
Yeah, they did this year.
Yeah.
But
Wait till they move it and say, should have gone off.
Yeah.
We're past the hour.
We're past the hour. Well, the Ukraine war is just one of the hot spots. The Middle East is, of course, the other, and Iran, and the question of Israel.
Well, Israel is blowing shot at nuclear facilities in Iran before.
Yes, they
and
have.
now Trump, who got a plane, is now negotiating after that bribe with Iran to help them build their nuclear.
He has no shame, that guy.
No,
Not
he's
at all.
corrupt. He's
Two-faced. The Jim and Terry Show. That's about it for us. Take care now. Bye-bye.